And as always, welcome to our table. We are excited to put our first campaign-specific video out today. So I'm going to be introducing the world and some of what the starting city is going to look like for our players. And then after that, we are going to have each player introduce themselves and the character that they will be playing for the campaign. So let's dive in. The name of the world as a whole is Canvas, and its age is debated amongst historians across the world, but there is a general consensus that it is at least 1,000 years old. Years aren't the best measurement though, and they rely on ages or eras to really delineate different times. The current era is known as the Third Peace because there have been two major wars throughout the world's history. Working our way to the beginning, the creator, god Valessa, began Canvas's existence. Briefly speaking, she is a shape-shifting deity who values art and expression, and in her powers, in doing this expression, made the world and its people, and a pantheon of other gods to help her out. There is a god over the sea, a god over space and the stars. There are gods over trickery, and even gods over war and peace and truce and revelry, all of these different topics. They all have their own domains and areas over the world. They then created in their own design the diversity that we see over race, geological locations, abilities that different people have, and the design for good and evil in the world. They are what make the world elaborate and unique. Humanoids weren't the only beings created in this time, but also beasts and monsters, creatures, and the world became full of energy and beauty. But there was also competition amongst those that were created. Who would rule over Canvas? Who submitted to whom? The dragons proved to be the most capable and fervent to be the answer to that question, but ultimately lost that war, dooming dragonkind to be banished, killed, and forbidden to exist in Canvas. Anyone found harboring dragons or in possession of their eggs would suffer the punishment of all the kingdoms coming together, seeing torture and death in their future. After that war began the Second Peace. But the war after that one proved to be even greater. A war of the divine broke out as one of the gods Valessa created, named Drenton, the soon-to-be-named corruptor god, rallied forces to overturn Valessa from her position over all the gods of the realm. Drenton is the god over a plane called Apori. This is the plane where those deemed unfit for Canvas are sent, and Drenton's resentment for being sent to rule over this discarded area brewed. The War of the Gods that ensued extended to the people of Canvas, and armies were raised and mobilized against cities who chose sides based on the gods that they followed. Tensions rose as gods turned against their creator, while others stood by her side. Ultimately, though, Drenton and his forces were overpowered. Those that served him were punished and weakened, and Drenton was banished and renamed the Chained God, as it is rumored that he still exists in a perpetual state of punishment to be an example to the other gods what dissension will ensue. Bringing us now to the Third Peace, a time marked by the passive generations after the war, long forgetting the ever-present nature of the gods, and replaced with a daily life that may or may not even acknowledge the gods' existence. This new time is marked for the gods by a treaty written up by a god named Trist. He is the god over war and peace, god over truce and negotiation, and so found his place meeting with the other gods, discussing what some new rules and restrictions they should abide by, and then eventually those gods all signed this agreement listing out things that they would commit to not see the war hit the land of Canvas again. Hopefully we can dive deeper into that in the campaign, but instead we will now go into Populous, the city that will be the start of our campaign. It is divided literally and figuratively down the middle. There is a main road that cuts through Populous straight from the northern gate to the government castle all the way in the south of the city. There is the east quarter, which is denoted by paved roads, space between multi-floor residences, pristine brickwork, and a couple tall towers giving variety to the skyline. The west end is dustier. Without being paved, the houses are more condensed and less on the eye. It also contains the farming and fishing villages on the far west side, on the edge of town, where Lake Georgina meets the edge. Soon on the calendar is the Founders Festival, a day where the city comes together to celebrate the origin of Populous with food and games and performances and sport. Our adventurers will be exploring this festival early on, meeting each other, and figuring out what it is that they will find for them in Populous and beyond. So, let us now move into meeting some of our players and the characters they will be bringing to the table.
Hi, my name is Rachel, and I will be playing Tuli Paulo Jigyasu, the Fire Genasi Wizard. Tuli is a naive, inquisitive, and very friendly young student of the mystic arts and of life. If you're looking for her, you can probably find her drinking a nice hot cup of Feddo, trying just a little too hard to make friends, or musing over her mysterious dark background.
Hi, my name is Tim, and I will be playing Cicero, a changeling hermit who lives on the outskirts of Populous. He's an artificer who comes from a long line of artificers who seek to secretly serve the people of the city for their advancement of the city and the betterment of their lives.
Hi, I'm Cassandra. I'm going to be playing Gwendolyn Stone, who is a shifter barbarian. My family just moved to Populous and is getting used to the suburban lifestyle. I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I like bees.
Hi, I'm Joey, and I'll be playing Misery, the tiefling bard who has some sick acoustic covers to play for you if you're in the mood for something a little more chill.
Hi, I'm Sally. I will be playing Loreleth, the wood elf ranger who needs help driving the fanatic cult out of her hometown.
Hello, I'm Steven, and I will be playing Pilgrim, who is a Kalishtar rogue. Pilgrim will, unlike myself, be likely the quietest and most reserved of the bunch. He is a middle-aged sort of wanderer, sort of nomad. He goes from town to town, seeking the opportunity to do good works and to help out in whichever area he comes to. There's an almost attitude of penance in the way that he goes about helping others. Penance for what? You'll just have to watch and find out. Watch it. Watch. Please watch.
One last thing. If you're new to Dungeons & Dragons, you might have no idea what this is going to look like. And so I just wanted to end this video with a little description of how this is going to go. So my role in this is to be the what's called Game Master or Dungeon Master. I have written out a whole world and story that I talked about earlier, some things that I want to flesh out and talk through with our players as I have created a game and scenarios and things that are going to happen to challenge them, both in fighting things and also in morality and decision making and in having an impact on the world around them. And so I will be playing people, I will be describing environments and like the starting city of Populous, the greater world, and providing the space for them to be their players. And then they will each be playing their character that they've created. We have met on a one-on-one basis to help develop and create characters that they want to play, who have ideas and memories and backgrounds and stories of what their life has been like, and then how we're going to continue that together at the table. So you'll see 6 individual personalities, people pretending and playing in at being those characters, and me being a bunch of different people, and also telling them what the rooms look like around them, and what is going on, what they hear, what they see, all of that. And then last thing I want to cover about that too is we'll be using dice a lot. And so if you have no idea what Dungeons & Dragons can look like, there's a bunch of different dice that all mean different things. But instead of me just being able to say, yes, that works, or no, that doesn't, based on how I feel or what they're doing, if I'm ever in a spot where I'm like, oh, I don't know if that would be successful or not, go ahead and roll and we'll see what happens. I'll be telling them to roll different dice for different things, but the baseline complete foundation of Dungeons & Dragons is a 20-sided die, the D20. And so whenever they're trying to perform something or do something or see if it succeeds or fails, I'll have them roll that. They'll tell me their number, and then that number will let me know if they succeed or fail. And so this causes a lot of chaos and fun and unpredictability. And so, of course, none of what we're doing is really scripted. It will be that like improvised in the moment, working through things. We don't really have an end goal in mind. It's entirely for the fun and for the sake of the story. So that's what you can expect when you tune in, when you check out our videos. I have an idea of what I'm going to introduce them to in our first session, and then you'll get to see them interact with that and decide what to do with that. So we look forward to seeing you. Check us out on our first video coming soon.